All right, we are graph the inverse of a provided graph on the accompanying set of axes. You must plot at least 5 points. Click the graph to make a point, click it again to erase. Okay, so when they talk about inverses, we're talking about reflecting, in this case, graphically, because we're doing it graphically. We're talking about reflecting it over the y equals x line. So what happens here is any point, any original point has the letters or the variables switched when it gets reflected over this y equals x line, or we do the inverse of it. In fact, when we start doing the inverse algebraically, that's what we do is we flip the letters and we solve for the other one. Usually you solve for y, and then we'll solve for x and switch them around, but there's a little procedure. I don't want to go too far into it, but graphically, we're switching the letters, so that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. The other way of doing it is you can count, and you're doing like a reflection on the other side. So this is the flipping version, and then we'll check out the counting version. And I'll show you how that works. It's a lot easier to kind of show you than it is to explain it. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit and look at this a little bit better. So let's start with our first point. We need at least 5 points. So this point right here, it's kind of like a vertex. Oh, there we go. And this is the point -1, -4. So -1, comma, -4. Well, let's go ahead and flip it first. So if I flip it, I just exchange the letters. So this would become -4, comma, -1. All right, so -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then -1 right here. All right, so that's the flipping technique. Now the counting technique, let me go ahead and change my colors a little bit, is you can go either way, but you have to do it vertically or horizontally, and then you switch directions when you hit the line of reflection. So let's take a look. First, I'll go ahead and do it horizontally. So that's, if I go to it, it's 1, 2, 3 to get to the line of reflection. That was 3 units horizontally. Then I'll go 3 units vertically. 1, 2, 3, and then it lands right there. All right, and it doesn't matter which way you do, vertically or horizontally first. Let's go ahead and I'll switch colors. We'll go the other way. So if I go vertically first, 1, 2, 3, and then horizontally, 1, 2, 3, it has that same output or that same landing. So either way, the counting is the vertical and horizontal kind of switching as you hit the line of reflection. All right, so all we have to do is find 5 points anywhere on our graph, and then we can do either one of those techniques. So it looks like there's a point right there. There's a symmetry here, so there's another point right there. Let's see if we can find one more point, and it looks like there's a point right here. So those are the 5 points. I don't see, looks like we got another one right here too. Okay, so we got a few options here. And either way, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the counting method because the flipping method seems pretty easy. So let's go ahead and just reinforce the counting method. All right, so 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3 here. So there's that one. Other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's do one more. And let's go ahead and switch it up. We'll do the flipping method on this last one. All right. So this is the point 3, -2. I'll just do the other one at the same time. 3, comma, -6. So this flips or gets inverted and becomes -2, comma, 3. And same thing for this one, -6, comma, 3 when it's inverted. Let me remind you, this is also very common. It's called a reflection. The inverse, it's called a reflection over the y equals x line. So reflection. if you remember from geometry. So this is a reflection over the y equals x line. So there's this symmetry that happens when we plot this. So let's go ahead. -2, 3, -2, 3, and -6, 3, -6, 3. And notice it, -6, 3. Sorry, it keeps deleting on me. And come on, stay there. It's a little darker. Give it a few clicks. Okay, so notice it kind of has that symmetry there, and it doesn't matter in this context which one you do. As a math teacher, I like showing you multiple ways to kind of go through these, and then you can do whichever way you kind of feel is most appropriate. If you can remember one way, then you can at least get through the problem. If you know both ways, then it gives you more power, and you can do whichever one's more appropriate. So let's go ahead and check our work. There, right there, right there, right there, and right there. There was that symmetry. Okay. And let's see, what else did we need? Graph. All right, submit answer. Okay, got it. So here's theirs. They switch X and Y, so they're doing the flipping idea. And then another one is the counting technique. Let's look at one more problem, see if it's any different. All right, graph the inverse of the prior graph on the coming segment is a graph at least 5 points. Everything looks exactly the same. So we would do the same technique, counting it to the y equals x line. So it's real important you remember that this is a y equals x line. Sometimes that is a very common type question for these.